making a video. A couple of subjects, so this might be a long one again. Partially Anekantavad, so we'll get to him. Doing the guilt thing again, which I just can't understand. Like, this is the worst thing in the world you could have, is guilt. It's not horrible that you would do something horrible. It's horrible that you would feel guilty after doing it, which is just insane. Anyway, but I've been arguing that he's just insane, so this should not be a surprise. Anyway, yeah, first Gartex. Gartex made a video just ragging on atheists, calling them essentially, just a ego cult. And suggesting that if we really wanted to do any good for atheism, we would just seduce people out of their religion with bingo or something. So we, open gambling halls and maybe get them drunk, and then we could get them out of their Christianity. So anyway, just sort of implying that Dawkins hasn't done any good, that the whole conversation isn't slowly but surely beating Christians into the dirt. I mean, you really can't be thought of as an intellectual of any kind and be religious. So it's pretty much just declare yourself a pumpkinhead. And eventually there'll be a stigma and a status, lowering that'll go with that. It's just going to be obvious. Religion's going to die, and it's going to die because people are ridiculing it. And they're pointing out how it's a ludicrous theory, nonsensical, illogical, and fundamentally irresponsible considering what the fuck goes on planet Earth. So anyway, I just don't see the point. Gartex is, he claims that we can't know for sure. Like there's some reasonable doubt, some reason to doubt evolution. I mean, evolution kind of closes the door on a God, doesn't it? Come on, let's get real. A God initiates a cruel and brutal process for 4 billion years, to make humans. It took forever to figure out simple things like bacteria causes diseases. Still can't quite figure it out, obviously, because they can't seem to contain diseases because no one seems to know what, sterile conditions are. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject, right? I mean, really, a God who would leave us ignorant? Yeah, sure. Anyway, there's just no reasonable theory of God. And then the whole idea of a God anyway, like I said, what was it doing forever? It just doesn't go anywhere. Evolution is the only source of intelligence. That's how it got here. That's why we're here. It's evolution. There's no other source. Crude dynamic creates machines that need tools. One of the tools is intelligence. There you go. This isn't complicated. So he's just pretending, as usual, and as usual, he's really, he's good at pointing out what's wrong with everybody else, but not too good at figuring out what a solution might look like. So anyway, he's just an asshole. While he's ridiculing atheists for ridiculing Christians, which is just laughable. Anyway, Anekantavad, and he's called this regarding utilitarianism and scapegoat, which is kind of funny because the subject he's on now is guilt, which I don't know how guilt has anything to do with utilitarianism. Guilt's just kind of a useless emotion. Let's just recognize that. I mean, if you did something stupid because you were reckless, then you feel bad about it and you get over it and you say, well, there's nothing I can do about it except do better the next time. And certainly you could say, maybe I can do something to, restore the people I've hurt or ruined. Maybe I can give back something of sufficient value to compensate for my failure. But the bottom line is, yeah, you might just absolutely suck, and you might have to live with that fact. And, yeah, it's not a great fact. Yeah. But people shouldn't feel it? People shouldn't think guilt? They shouldn't think responsibility? They shouldn't think obligation? I mean, this guy's just talking absolute crap. Again, offering what is his vision of how people should function. as guiltless, selfish fucks. I mean, I wish we had that world, because damn it, there's some what you deserve. These people deserve some shit.
Luco Black asks an interesting question in the comments section of my previous video. What would be preferable to you? To stab somebody in the eye with a fork and then feel guilty about it later and remember having stabbed them in the eye with the fork? Or would you prefer to actually be the victim of the stabbing, to have somebody stab the fork into your eye? I think that that's an unbalanced question.
Yeah, like it's not an obvious question, right? No, there's something complicated here. Yeah, I mean, I think first you'd say, why would I want to be the guy who's stabbing people in the eye with a fork? If it's a guilt mechanism, if you're going to feel guilty about it, then obviously you did it for some selfish or stupid reason, which just means, yeah, you suck. I just don't, how the fuck could you possibly want to be an asshole who hurts things versus not being the victim? I mean, the victim is the one that's going to be experiencing the no eyeball. I mean, a little bit of guilt? Oh, gee, horror.
The reason why is, the implication is, guilt really isn't as bad as physical pain. To make his question more balanced...
Yeah, I just don't really... Does anybody... I mean, really, who are you people? You fucking weirdos who think guilt is a real problem in your life. I mean, especially these selfish bastards. I mean, this guy doesn't feel guilt. He doesn't have any fucking problems. What the fuck is this crap, anyway? What is this crap? The only people who don't feel guilt are assholes, and the people who do feel guilt are usually people of high character and decent folk, and they're not going to be stabbing no fucking people with a goddamn fork.
I would have to alter it a bit, and I do apologize because I don't think that it's fair of me to do this, but I'm just going to sort of say this as my own version of the same thought experiment. I'm not trying to change what Luke has said.
Well, you are, I think.
Somebody's always making noise.
I think so. I think you are changing it.
What would you prefer? To be pinched hard?
Oh, there we go. So yeah, take away the thing that mattered, which is the horrible pain and suffering, having your eye removed with a fork, and turn it into a pinch. Yes, no, you're not changing the thought experiment at all. No.
Or feel guilty about having pinched somebody hard. What's worse? Anyone who's ever had a good Catholic guilt trip inflicted upon them.
Oh, again, this good Catholic guilt trip thing. You're going to ride that fucking piece of shit for the rest of your life, aren't you? You're just going to keep riding like that's an excuse for everything that's wrong with your fucking psychology, is your stupid Catholic guilt trips, your stupid Catholic guilt trips. I mean, you wear this like a fucking Catholic yarmulke. Guilt is the Catholic yarmulke. Oh, we're all burdened by trying to be good Catholics, which means we sin all over the fucking place. We goddamn use the Bible and the verses as goddamn toilet paper, and then we say a few fucking Hail Marys and we're off scot-free. I mean, what a crock of shit that there is such a thing as Catholic fucking guilt. There's Catholic child molestation, okay? There isn't no such thing as a Catholic who feels guilty about anything. Catholics are son of a bitches. Even goddamn nuns are hedonistic, selfish cunts. I mean, you are so full of shit.
Would find that a little bit more of a balanced equation. To balance out Luca's question, I would rephrase it thus, and again, that's just my rephrasing.
It's rephrasing. I mean, fuck. Oh, yeah, no, it's not much of a difference. Pinching versus having your eye removed with a fork. Oh, yeah, not much difference at all. Oh, fuck this shit.
I'm trying to alter his question, or her question.
Liar.
What would you prefer? To stab somebody in the eye with a fork and then be driven mad with guilt and remorse?
Driven mad. Will you show me an example, please? Show me the examples of these people who've been driven mad with guilt and remorse. Go ahead, show them. Show me them. And show me where they didn't fucking goddamn earn it in a sense. The people who have been driven mad have done something so heinous that, yes, their life is ruined because they're never going to get the face of the little 8-year-old they drunk drive killed out of their fucking head. And they know it. So they blow their brains out because they know the game is over. Because that little fucking kid's face is going to haunt them for the rest of their fucking existence. So they're going to have the Poeskian telltale heart thing is going to beat the crap out of them. Big fucking goddamn deal. Oh, shitty people die. Oh, what a horror. Maybe you shouldn't be a shitty person. Maybe you shouldn't drink and drive because, yeah, it would really suck to have that little face, that little girl roaming around inside your brain for the rest of your fucking life. Oh, gee, isn't that horrible that we have to learn lessons that way? Oh, gee, wouldn't it be horrible if there was some sort of punishment commensurate, not even commensurate, but somehow related to doing something preposterously stupid and selfish?
Long after that person had healed in every conceivable way, i.e. they had their eye fixed and they went on with their lives, whereas the...
Oh, yeah, right. So that's part of the thing, too. Okay, so you have your eye gouged and it heals. Okay, so now we're just talking about a temper. How many weeks of eye patchery and, medications? And so let's just, let's keep narrowing this down, huh?
Rushing guilt that you felt stayed with you forever and continued to torture you and wreck your life.
Again, why don't you point to a real-world example? Why don't for once in your goddamn life you do something honest and quit telling fairy tales and talk about something real?
The person's eye had healed and any physical pain had healed. If you don't think that guilt is capable of that, you just have to look at a few people whom you've seen a guilt trip applied to. A serious one.
Yeah, I don't know. A serious one. Yeah, I can't think of any. Really. I mean, they happen in relationships, but some of that is just honest. People kind of invest in each other, and then somebody gets fucked. They wasted the 5 years. And, yeah, it's not good.
A major guilt trip. A concerted, sustained guilt trip. It drives you mad.
Oh, whatever. I mean, really, is this what people you want to hear this guy tell you what drives you mad? Is that really what drives you mad? Again, the people watching, the scumbags who applaud your videos, like I said, they don't have any guilt problems. They're selfish motherfucking cunts. They aren't bothered by any guilt. They can eat any old goddamn animal and they'll go yum, 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 yum. If somebody gets in their way or if somebody's walking across the street too slow and they run them over, I'm sure they'll get the fuck over it. Because they're scumbags like you fucking cunt. So why are you talking like you're some sort of decent human that could be affected by guilt? What a crock of shit. You're just such a lying, manipulative piece of goddamn shit!
You completely out of your mind. It fills you with so much inner conflict that you're essentially destroyed as a human being. If you want to see an example...
Oh, I just wish. Anyway, I'll be back. Continuing. Probably. Oh, mostly.
Of somebody who I believe, and I'm not really into arguing this point, but this is just an opinion that I'd like to throw out there, but not really for debate. If you want to see an example of somebody whose mind has been completely destroyed by guilt, or I guess a certain part of it, emotionally they've been...
Oh, gee. Well, a certain part of their brain has been totally dominated by this guilt monster. Let's see who it is. Ooh, I can't wait, the suspense is... Oh, it's not killing me. No, that's just a cliche figure of speech. It really isn't killing me at all. Like the guilt.
Destroyed. Look at the fellow who wanders aimlessly, constantly and compulsively through the forest.
Here we go. Who's this? The fellow who aimlessly walks through the forest. Aimlessly.
While making videos. And listen to the guilt that he desperately tries to slough off onto everybody.
Oh, come on. Yeah, they're not aimless walks in the first place. So the guilt he tries to slough off on. Isn't that an amazing phrase? Slough off on. And as if I'm imposing guilt by suggesting, okay, silly things like don't advocate your vices in others. You don't even have to fix your vices. Just don't create them in other people. Don't defend them as something society should subsidize or endorse. Like actually say the things that suck about me, yeah, don't let kids turn into a piece of suck. Wow, what a horror. Amazing. I mean, really. I could pile it on. Like I said, every video, instead of me swimming in the background, I could just show animals in frickin' cages. Animals in cages. Animals in cages. 24 hours a day. I could do that. But I don't do that. Because I'm making an argument. I'm not trying to guilt people into something. I'm just trying to get them to understand a simple truth of existence. And that, look, you can do something about it. You're not powerless. Fuck.
Else. If guilt doesn't destroy you, why don't you look at that individual for...
See, again, he's thinking I did it out of guilt. Guilt destroyed me. It wasn't an awareness. It wasn't an understanding that for the grace of evolution, there go I. Some understanding that those boots I could be walking in, there's nothing stopping it. The next roll of the dice, that's what's going to be the reality. I could be sitting somewhere being a celebrity right now and saying, gee, I sure had a great life. And then I could realize that, oh, when I'm dead, yeah, the next human beings, most of the human beings out there aren't celebrities. They aren't going to have the nice life. They're going to have a horrible life. That's the reality. I'm going to wake up next time and I ain't going to be somebody special. I'm going to be one of them pieces of shit getting peed on. How's that guilt? That's just a rational observation that if you endorse the game of slavery, then you're essentially going to be a slave.
Evidence of someone destroyed by guilt.
Again, so it's just a preposterous statement. Destroyed by guilt. I am the most unguilty. I have no burden of, well, I have some burden, and like I said, I feel bad when I promise to call somebody and I don't do it. Oh, I feel bad about that. And sometimes I just can't, I fuck up, I used to be pretty reliable, but now, I'll say I'll do something, and you depend on somebody else, and they're supposed to pick up the piano, and they don't pick up the piano, and then you promise that they were going to get rid of the piano, and then and a whole bunch of shit happens because you depend on somebody else, and so that's not even really guilt, but you still feel bad because you said you were going to take care of it, and even though it's somebody else who fucked it up, you're still feeling bad because you said you were going to take care of it, and you didn't take care of it. So I feel guilty about that. But what else? What else? I'm doing the best I can. I can honestly say I'm trying to be a good guy. That's what I'm trying to do, is be a good person. And I know to be a good person, I can't hurt things on purpose. That's for goddamn sure. And I gotta try not to do it by accident. That's the definition of being a good fucker. And I'm gonna be a good fucker.
He denies it. And he may be absolutely right, and I may be completely off base here.
Yes, of course you're completely off base. Of course you are. Again, I am, guilty with anger. You want to accuse me of being angry? Well, that's a good one. You want to accuse me of being, what's the word when you're having a superiority complex or something? Yeah. Finding all of you disgustingly deficient and grotesque? Yeah. But guilt? No, I don't feel responsible for the mess that exists. Then the only guilt I feel, technically, again, I do feel kind of bad that sometimes I just don't, I do the work. I do work on making a good argument and trying not to be an asshole and all that stuff, but I don't always succeed, right? So I haven't made the best argument. I haven't controlled my personality as much as I should have, and so I can always I can find some things to feel bad about, but I just don't really think I'm doing that terrible. I really have a pretty good impression of my existence on planet Earth. I think, okay, it's going to be profitable. And I'm certain I haven't done anything malicious in a very, very, very long time. Maliciously evil, bad, wrong.
As I say, this isn't really a subject that I'm interested in debating. But that's what I believe.
Well, isn't that just so special that you just... Well, I don't mind. Yeah, okay, it's okay. I think you're a psychotic, so it's quite okay for you to make, to do your speculating, I guess, about me being a guilt monger, and I'll just tell people that I think it's quite obvious from how I say what I say and my general demeanor that I'm not somebody paralyzed by guilt or even distracted by guilt. That it really isn't something that drove me to my philosophy at all. Fear, fear of you people's insanity, fear of the doom you are going to sentence consciousness to keep waking up in. That you could say, okay, but that isn't guilt. Not even close. Fear and guilt aren't the same thing.
Counts for a lot of it, or if not most of it. I'm running away from that judgmental voice, the inner critic that always tells me how horrible I am. And while doing so, I'm desperate to say, that guy's worse.
Well, again, I don't think have I made videos doing that? That guy's worse. Have I made videos doing that? I'm making an appeal for the cause. Again, I don't sit there and bang people over the head with it. I even say things like, look, if you can't be a vegetarian, it's okay. Don't be a vegetarian. But just don't make silly rationalizations for eating meat. Don't pretend that human beings were meant to chase down other mammals, tear their fur off with their big, giant, sharp teeth, and chew on raw protein that they can't digest. Don't pretend that somehow we're the only carnivore, with a long digestive tract. Somehow, all the carnivores on Earth aren't doing it right, and we're the right carnivore because we have a really long intestine, like the vegetarians, instead of a short one, like every single other carnivore. Right? Oh, yeah. I mean, just don't do that shit. Is that terribly burdensome? Is that pointing to them and going, oh, you're so much more inferior? No. It's just suggesting, look, it's not that difficult to be an honest, stinking, decent human. You don't even have to be decent. You just have to at least talk like a decent human.
I might be doing things that are not so nice, but that guy, that SOB, that horrible beast of a human being, is worse than me.
Again, find the video where I'm doing that. Find the video where that is the subject of my video. Go ahead, find it. You silly liar. I mean, that's just such a lie. Liar! You're just such a liar!
Don't return a kindness, pass it on. Well, don't return a guilt trip, pass it on.
Don't return a guilt trip, pass it on. Anyone make any sense of that? No.
And he's placed himself in a perfect position to inflict massive existential guilt on the entirety of humanity.
Well, whatever. I would like people... this was really a good idea, but I have to refrigerate it. Anyway, I guess I'm going to have to permanently glue it. So I quit doing this lens adjusting. Anyway, what did he say? Massive, blah, 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 massive on the whole human race. Yeah. So again, why? Because I'm pointing out that there's a real risk to the game you're playing. And you people just don't want to acknowledge that that's the reality. So you don't want to give up your little silly psychological candy bar of, I want to watch the World Series. like it's the worst thing in the world if we canceled the World Series. Or we canceled procreation, or whatever. I mean, like, you just can't get on with your life. You can't figure out what to do on this planet except for making trouble. Come on.
It's not going to do him any good dealing with his inner demons, but, you know, it's an understandable response, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't got any inner demons. All my demons are out there that are you, fucker. Everything that's disquieting and discomforting to me has a you. There you are, right there. You fuckers. You're my problem. You're the ones who are going to interrupt my rest.
Finally, in response to Luca's video comment, I would like to say this. Which sensation would you prefer? To get stabbed in the eye with a fork, or to feel guilty after having stabbed somebody in the eye with a fork? How about I give said person a chocolate-covered marshmallow and feel good about having given them a chocolate-covered marshmallow? The very way that the question gets framed from
well,
the
whatever. I mean, I don't know. Why don't you just see again? And it's wrong for somebody to point out that this kind of glib running away from reality, and that's all this is a glib. You sit there and you do it so overtly. You change the subject from there's consequences, fork in the eye stuff happens in life all the time. It's going to happen. Alright, it's inevitable. You make enough trips to the shopping center, if you had enough lifetimes to live, eventually you will run over a kid. You know, these are just realities. It's statistical inevitabilities, it's some of this shit. It's going to have fucking goddamn happen. And what does he do? He disengages from taking responsibility for it and just wants to talk about fucking marshmallow.
It sets the stage for all further debate. Is everything inevitably a choice between what one would colloquially call the lesser of two evils? No, it isn't. And I won't allow the debate, or at least any debate I participate in, to be framed that way from the beginning.
Right. So he doesn't accept the idea that there are preferable states, lesser of evils regardless. There's two circumstances, okay? One that requires a sacrifice from you to be accomplished, and one that doesn't. And if you don't sacrifice, then there's risk. You do sacrifice, there's no risk. It's just real. Alright, you want to pretend, go ahead and pretend. But I'll hate you for it. At least I'll do my job. I'll have the appropriate response, which is, I will hate your fucking goddamn useless sack of shit guts for talking this tripe.
You might say that the negative is all that counts in this universe. I disagree.
Yeah, well, you can disagree all you want, but again, you're not going to account for the mistake, the error. Again, you can say that your nuclear power is worth it, but go ahead, say it to the real victims. Say it when your hands, when they're full of radiation. Say it when, their kid is, born with 15 arms. Go ahead and say it then to their face that I thought it was worth it. But you don't have that guts. So again, it's all a big goddamn glib joke. So, the tragedy and the horror that gets dumped on this little minority, fuck them. It's the statement from these people. Fuck them. Okay, they're in my way. Fuck victims, they're in my way. I have to get to the store and buy some, whatever, coffee latte crap. I like Starbucks with my little tight collar. Fucker. Anyway. You people be motherfucking evil. Yeah, that's all I got to say. I don't like you. Till next time, such.